September has come and gone, and with it, a set of movies that I watched. 9 of them, to be specific, and today I'm going to rank them from worst to best, and I have to tell you, August was a very solid month for films. September, not so much. In fact, I would only recommend watching a few of the movies on my list, and the rest of them you can continue to avoid if you haven't watched them. Let's begin with number 9. Say, before I give you what is obviously going to be the perfect ranking of films I saw in September, if you wouldn't mind subbing to the show real quick, Adam Does Movies on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, I would appreciate it. I'm Adam, I do the movies here. All right, let's get on with it. When you present Liam Neeson the opportunity to star in a film these days, he's going to say yes 10 times out of 10. Which becomes all the more obvious when you see Ice Road Vengeance streaming exclusively on Netflix. I know it's going to be hard to believe, but the follow-up to the first Ice Road Trucker movie is ass. In fact, it's Ice Road Venge ass. I imagine the draw of the first movie was the fact that the TV series, the reality show, was very popular, so people got to see that play out in kind of an over-the-top dramatic effect. So they take the two things people loved from that, the giant trucks and the ice road, they toss that in the trash. Instead, the sequel opts to present Liam Neeson in front of a green screen most of the time and use a comically obvious stunt double at others. And there's also no giant semi-truck and a tiny sliver of a section you could consider an ice road. But he doesn't even really drive on the thing, it's more of a slip to their almost death. Now, this time we're on the short bus with a bunch of morons who are going to try to survive to the end of the film. Taking place on a fake Mount Everest, you can't go right with this one. When I watched The Strangers Chapter 1, I thought to myself, well, there's no way this is getting a sequel. Then I found out they already filmed 2 more. It's part of a trilogy. And you bet your chapped ass I was out there day fun to watch the second movie. I had to see how Maya got out of the pickle she put herself in this time. And it turns out it's a lot of what I expected. Sheer incompetence by everyone involved. Watch as Maya goes from scene to scene, bumbling around like a moron, falling down hills, fighting off CG boars, and never once thinking of asking her sister to call the cops when she talks to her on the phone. It's just smart. It's just good writing. No, sarcasm aside, Strangers Chapter 2 is just completely terrible. It's just a dumb movie from front to back. Nothing happens at all. We learn a little backstory on one of the villains that we're not supposed to know the backstory on because they're strangers. That's the entire point. And once again, this movie ends on a to-be-continued cliffhanger where Maya is hiding around a log, playing peekaboo with the killers. And all I want so desperately is for those logs to fall and crush her to death so this misery can be over. I don't actually know if she's behind logs. She's always behind something. The misery continues with number 7 on my list, Spinal Tap II. The end continues. Now, the title might fool you into thinking this is going to be a clever movie because that title's pretty funny. When the first movie came out all those years back, we were already watching a band that was at their end. And so to continue the downfall, that's funny in title form, not so much in execution. What we have here is a bunch of old dogs saddling up for one last ride, but unfortunately their improv skills have not developed into a fine wine over the years. Much like with Happy Gilmore 2 last month, Spinal Tap 2 is going to rely on a lot of cameos from musicians in the industry. Hey, look over there, it's one of the Beatles. Hey, that guy's in Metallica. Whoa, that's Elton John. I found myself chuckling a couple times, but for a 90-minute comedy, that's not a good sign, especially for a sequel off of a great original. This is Spinal Tap. This unfortunately falls in the same category as all the legacy comedy sequels. Happy Gilmore 2, Dumb and Dumber 2, Zoolander 2, Spinal Tap 2. In the number 6 spot is Him, a film produced by Jordan Peele, and the trailers really want you to know that Jordan Peele has something to do with this movie. We promise you, Jordan Peele helped. He did stuff. While you may have been convinced by the previews, I know I was, the final product tells a different story. One that said to me, perhaps Jordan Peele just helped with some of the promotional videos and nothing else. The movie comes off like an obnoxious music video. There's a lot of jump cuts, there's a lot of snazzy production design going on, but nothing amounts to anything at the end of the day. It's a simple, basic, hit-over-your-head commentary that does the same thing a lot of modern horror films do, where it just goes hog wild in the final 15 or so minutes, ruining any sort of interesting closure some of the earlier ideas could have led to. In the number 5 spot is the perfect movie for a number 5 spot, The High School Catfish. This is such a plain Jane film, a documentary about a girl who was bullied in high school by a mysterious person for several years. This person texts her every day, and I know what you're thinking. Block the number? This will eventually happen after, months and months of psychological torment. And while the reveal is certainly a twist a lot of people didn't see coming, I did not think it was enough to deserve a 90-minute movie. Hell, I've seen these stories wrapped up on a great YouTube video in less than 15 minutes. Because this is a recent event in history, you do have a lot of modern video footage. There's body cams on police officers, you got surveillance cameras to go off of. So it's not your typical documentary where they have to kind of manufacture video footage or keep showing the same damn pictures over and over again for 2 hours. No, this one's got plenty of content to use. There's some high definition interviews taking place. It's not a bad watch. It's just unfortunately nothing that exciting either. In number 4 is The Smashing Machine. I just saw this a couple days ago. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson putting on his acting pants for the first time in like 15, 20 years. Not that it's the biggest stretch. He's playing another guy that's also a wrestler / UFC fighter. This is going to be a film that focuses on Mike Kerr for a 4-year span from 97 to 2000. An odd, small time frame to shove the movie into, but it sort of works. The problem is there's not really a beginning, middle, and end climax. Instead, it's just kind of like, hey, UFC fighting is tough. These guys work hard. You should know the names of some of the guys that built up the industry. It dabbles into his substance abuse. It dabbles into his relationship problems. This is all stuff we've seen before a bunch of times over. This does not have near the punch of a Rocky story or another true story, The Iron Claw, last year, which was far better, I thought, than this one. But because of a really slick direction, solid performances by Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, this is an easy watch. But it's one that does not have an ending in mind. So it just kind of fizzles out in this bizarre final moment of the movie. It was odd. I'm not going to spoil it, but I was taken out of the film for sure. The Warrens are back, baby! Ed and Lorraine are in the saddle for one last ride. And then probably a few more, because this movie made a bunch of money. The Conjuring Last Rites, probably not going to be the last film. The con artist heroes are back on the big screen, basically superheroes at this point. Now Lorraine walks into a room and she's like, I see everything. It is pretty fun watching Farmiga kind of do her whole look over the shoulder shtick over and over again as something kind of tickles her ear, tickles her funny bone, and she knows that there's a presence that does not mean well. I found The Conjuring Last Rites to be and I'm going to use an overused term here, mixed bag. The family haunting stuff was great. I liked all of that. The Ed Lorraine drama with the daughter boyfriend thing, it was okay. And by the way, as an aside, what the hell was with the boyfriend getting in the car and going like 90 miles an hour down a 1-block road? Like, he's shot out of a cannon, hits a fence. What a dipshit. Anyway, the movie overall was far better than it was worse for me. I thought there was some good atmosphere. There were some genuine scary moments, especially one where one of the girls in the haunted house is watching a tape, an old VHS, and the family footage starts to do the thing where it's getting all screwed up, and you're seeing a weird figure in the corner, but then behind her, there's also a presence. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. And when The Conjuring does that right, they do it right. In number 2, we have a good old-fashioned Stephen King book brought to the big screen again, this time, The Long Walk. We got Philip Seymour Hoffman's son in this one as the lead protagonist. He's going to be walking with some plucky guys who are going to get a little less plucky as the movie continues on, because 50 of these poor bastards have elected to do a long walk where they have to go until there's only one left standing. left walking. They need to go at least 3 miles an hour. It's like Speed, but really slow. And it's like Hunger Games, but they're not trying to kill each other. They're just trying to outlive each other. And in fact, kind of the opposite is going on, which does pull me out of the film a little bit. These guys elect to go on this walk. The goal is to go until everyone else has dropped. Everything in this fictitious story is trash. No one has any money. Food is scarce. You got the military in the streets. Again, this is off of a book. Definitely nothing happening in any countries right now. So you would imagine all these guys are really hungry to win this thing, and they're not going to be too inclined to buddy up and help each other out when they fall. But that's exactly what they do in this film. Again, it's a little hard for me to wrap my penis around that idea that these guys are all going to lift each other up and keep the spirits high like I'm watching an episode of the Great British Bake Off. No, these guys want to win. They should be hungry to win. They should not be stopping with someone else to help tie the shoes. Regardless of that hang up I have, the movie is very intense. It's constantly moving because the people are constantly moving. I liked Hamill in this as the evil general. He's a douchebag. He's solid. He's got that gruff timbre in his voice. I do think, keeping up the theme with September movies, it does fall a little flat in the final act, but it's not necessarily about the destination. It's about the journey and the friends we meet along the way. In the number 1 spot on this list is One Battle After Another, probably the only movie on here that I think you should watch and give a shot. I know that there's going to be plenty out there that say this is propaganda, it's about how Antifa is the hero, and the Republicans are the bad guys, and blah. If you live life through a political lens, then yeah, you can pretty much do that for most movies these days. I don't do that because movies are pretty much timeless, and so even after the world changes and shifts, One Battle After Another is still going to be there. Kind of like how there was a bunch of mob movies that focused around prohibition, and sometimes you were focused on the bad guys, and you even kind of liked them, like you do in Godfather or Goodfellas or Casino, but you are watching bad people doing bad things. That's what One Battle After the Other is for me. We're watching a lot of bad people, or misinformed, or misaligned, or maybe just misunderstood individuals fighting for causes that they think are just. But in actuality, no one is on the right side of history in this film. Our protagonists are terrible at what they do, they accomplish nothing, and they come off as buffoons most of the time. Leonardo DiCaprio is great here. He's having fun with the role. He's a little bit more quirky and zany. And even though he's fighting for this Antifa-adjacent group, never really seems like he wants to be. He's just happy to be part of something and going against the man. And then he can go back to his couch and get stoned for like 15 years, feeling like he accomplished something. But in actuality, he's happy just being part of it. And once his daughter comes into his life, his perspective changes and he just wants to be there for her. These are troubled individuals that got radicalized and think they're on the right side of history. And it's fun watching how this story paints them in kind of idiotic light as the film progresses. And not that the military side of the thing is painted any better, quite the contrary. These guys are assholes, they're buffoons, they're taking orders at will, and it seems like they have zero empathy for anything going on in this world. We even get this sort of deep state underground society with the Christmas Club, which I think is hilarious. There's like 4 fucking dudes. They are the whitest guys you've ever seen. They talk like they're in the 50s still. They say Hail Santa instead of Hail Satan. It's funny as crap. If you go into this movie taking it as the dark comedy that it is, poking fun at everything going on, not just right now in the world, but just in general. It is certainly applicable to what's going on, but you can watch this movie 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, and there will still be a resistance group fighting against tyranny as they see it. And as I see it, One Battle After Another is a damn great film. It's got beautiful cinematography. It's got some really intense moments. There's a couple chase scenes in there where I was really hanging on for the ride. There are several great performances in this movie, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of it come award season. All right, that's all I got for you. Not a great list in September, but we got through it, and hopefully October gives us some good scares. I will do this next month, of course, ranking worst to best movies that I saw for the month. Hopefully you subscribe to the show, Adam Does Movies, on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. And you're going to see a lot more reviews from me in the future. All right. Hopefully I see you next time. Take care.